Hello and welcome to Factorio. There's a couple of things I want to try out today. So I have made a map with just iron ore, nothing cluttering up terrain, no enemies, and creative mode turned on. Okay, so we're in creative. And there's two things I want to try. Let's have a look at the map. How big are these? Okay, they're pretty big to start already. Let's run over here. Okay, so this is 140 million. Okay, that's probably big enough to start with. All right. So first thing I want to look at is mining directly into trains. So this is creative mode, and I've turned on the cheats, which means that it's basically where you would be after you've finished research, but before you've done anything else. Okay, so this is your train track. We're going to assume it goes right through the middle of your ore patch. We're going to have a station. Let's put it there. Okay, then I like putting trains in pairs. It's just a personal thing. So if you keep your locomotives in two at a time, then because there's a cycle of two in how train track items align, you'll always get everything lining up properly. All right, so we'll take a mining drill. Okay, and the idea is to find out if it's practical to do train mining just straight out the bat as soon as you've finished your launching a rocket and completed all the base researches, before you've done any infinite research of any sort. Okay. Right, let's get some power. There we go. Want some power poles, I think. So I'm going to try and do this as real as possible. So I don't know if I want these or substations, we'll find out. I'm sticking these in my logistics request. In creative, it's handy to do that. It fixes some issues you otherwise can have with items running out halfway through building things. Okay, so the idea is, there we go. To speed module and prob mod. Right, now press Alt to get some views of what's in these things. There we go. Okay, so this is our setup here. So this is mining faster than normal. We can put, I think, a power pole there. Yeah, that's it. We'll find out. Right, so let's copy that. Copy it without rail. Let's see how well it lines up. Right, let's force that down. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one doesn't hit. So we only have 3 hitting this one. So I'm trying to find a way of lining these up. Well, we get good hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 hit this, 4 hit that. So let's pick those up, move those over. Okay, and let's continue the pattern. There we are. Cool. Okay, so that's powered. What I'm kind of interested in is how long it takes for this to fill up. Hang on. Okay, so this is with speed modules in the mining drill. That's better. So it's filling up at quite a good pace, to be honest. Thing is, I don't think you can do max rate calculator on a mining drill. It doesn't tell you. Let's look at production. So this is producing ore. Yeah, I'm not interested in buildings, items. 1 minute. Let's let this. So this is stably producing 1.2k per minute with 4 mining drills, which is not too shabby. So let's let that get off the end. And I can't think what a blue belt takes, but we're pretty close to what a blue belt can carry, I think. There we are. Yeah, stably 1.2k. All right. So that's going to take a few minutes to fill. Right, let's turn the power off. Okay, and we can auto trash this down to 0. Empty the train out. All right, so that's design number 1. Let's blueprint that with trains. Okay, now this is version 2. Oop. And this is where we so we have fewer beacons hitting each mining drill. But twice as many mining drills. Okay, and there's a bit of a trick here with creative. So if you're standing in the way of something you're blueprinting down for Insta Blueprint, it doesn't place the item, leaves it as a ghost, which is annoying. The way around that is to have one of these super construction bots in your inventory. And where are we? There's equipment here, there. One of those, one of those. Okay, so now if a blueprint gets placed down and I'm in the way, then that bot will place it. All right, so this is our version 2. Right, the problem here is I've managed to overlap these, so let's X that away. Okay, and then my single bot is then clearing that away. So if we put down this missing power pole, remember before we were mining at, oh, we're a beacon short of happiness on the power. There we go. All right, so we were mining at 1.2. So let's have a look at production. Right, this is doing 2.2. So we haven't quite doubled it, near enough doubled. Let's give this a whole minute to run in. So remember, this is 4 carriages, 8 mining drills with beacons and speed modules. And yeah, pretty much dead stable 2.2k. So each train carriage, you can see it's getting on for half fill. Each train carriage carries 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 5, 1,000, 2,000. So this is going to be full in about 4 minutes. Just under 4 minutes, 3 minutes. So 3 minutes to fill your train is not too bad, right? If you had an ore patch where you were putting trains through them every 3 minutes, which is what we're really talking about, is the throughput, you'd be pretty happy with that throughput. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, straight out the bat, if you can spare the modules, direct mining into trains is the way to go before you've even done any extra research. And I'm quite surprised by this. Beforehand, when in 0.16, when I was benchmarking this, I couldn't really make this work until you had 400%, well, 400% mining productivity. But this is working fine with whatever the base bonus is of 40%. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let's head over here. Let that be. Okay, get some free space. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is solid fuel. All right, let's get some of those and some of those. All right, so ratios and things have changed. This is the good way to make solid fuel because it takes light oil is the good way to make solid fuel because it takes 10 units rather than 20 units. And it saves you cracking that material. And then this rocket fuel. Okay, so if we just had these with nothing else going on, we have an excess of solid fuel doing it this way, apparently. Okay, so that's fine. So you can imagine setting this up. Let's get some inserters. And endgame, the only 2 types of inserters you ever use are stacks and long-handed. Okay, so that would be your build, early game. And then that would put out however you're going to deal with it, onto a belt, into a bot, into a buffer chest, whatever. Okay. Late game, you want to do something else. You want to use prod mods. Let's get some of those. All right. So we would prod this. I'll I'll sort out the actual spacing in a minute, but we'll start off with the close pack. There we are. All right. That close pack's never going to work, is it? Because we can't get that pipe out. However, if we shift this over by 1, that's fine. So then we would, where's pipes? Great. So we would do something like this to get the solid fuel in. Sorry, the light oil in for the solid fuel. Right. And we could stick a substation up somewhere. I don't know. Figure that out in a minute. Right. And then let's do the same thing for this. Great. And I believe this can take prod mods as well. Do these ratios. Right. Now these ratios are terrible. The reason is the base speed on an assembling machine is, I think that has a base speed of 1. And this has a base speed of something else. Let's just look at the, here we are. Right. Crafting speed of 1 for the chemical plant. Crafting speed of 1.25 for the assembling machine. Right, so what that means is the prod mod knocks some speed off, but there's only 3 in there and 4 in there. So that puts them out of kilter. Then their speed is multiplied back up, but it's on their base speed. So you start off at 1.25 here, and then you multiply up that 1.25. Whereas here you only start at 1 and multiply the 1 up. So we have nearly a 40% deficit, or more than 33, more than a third. Which means this is now a lousy ratio. And in fact, let's do this step by step. All right. So this then is going to be overkill on the solids. Yeah. Sorry. What's going on here? Right. I'm just checking this does get covered by all the, yeah, it does. Right, so now we've got 3 to 2. Okay. So that's not great. Let's have a look at what else we could do. Right, let's try. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's only 12% overkill on the solid fuel. So that is that. So what could we do with this build? And the obvious thing is to interleave them so that you have a solid fuel with one of these in between and then one either side. Okay, so let's, and to do that, we would want the beacons to be spaced out horizontally a bit more. Okay, so that's something like our backbone. We're going to have these gaps in the ones which are taking chem plants. Move that in. Okay, so a chem plant is going to go by where I'm standing. Then we'll have a rocket fuel there. And we'll have a chem plant there. Okay, So this is going to go in here. Is it? No, it's going to go in here, sorry. And have I done this correctly? I'm not quite sure. There seems to be something going on here with beacons not being quite where I expect them. Okay, let's put this down here. So that's our beacon cage. Ah, this is going to be our issue. So how do we get this close enough? Because we need these to be joined up with a gap of 3. Okay, so let's take one of these and rotate it. So always this. So that's easy. That's easy. What we need is to get that across there and that across there. Now we can squish. Can we? So we can move that over, but does that actually help us? I think it just, no. Let's do it for now, for the sake of symmetry. So this doesn't reach, because we would need to move this all in. So let's grab all of this. Can we move all of this in? Yes, we can. Okay, so that now goes out that way. That goes out that way. What I would like to do is shift all this over. The problem is this pipe. Okay, so if the problem is the pipe, let's get rid of the pipe and work it out in a minute. Okay, now we can take this, move it over. And we can take all of this and move it in. Okay. This whole thing will power up with a couple of substations. There we go. And a power source. There we go. And let's get rid of all this because it's blinking and annoying. So let's max rate this. So this produces just shy of 500 solid fuel a minute and 67 rocket fuel a minute. When you think for a rocket you need 730, I don't know, 740, something like that, rocket a minute for a launch a minute. So you'd need a number of these builds. However, can we do something with the pipework? Yes, we can. Okay, so that works. It's never going to be a problem because there's never going to be enough volume going down this section of pipe. And if we care, we could always put in a fluid pump here. Right, so that's going to force light oil into here. So any kinkiness with the pipes won't be a problem. Now, is there anything else we can do to squeeze this build in? No, there isn't. I think that's it. Let's grab another substation there, and let's see if it actually works. All right, so creative mode, fluid source, there. That's there we go. That's better. All right. So that basically works. Now the question is, what do you do with the product? Well, there's not very much of it. So my default is to dump it out on into bots. But that's because I'm quite partial to bots. All right, now that we've got a belt here, we've got issues. Right, so we're in megabase territory, so we're using blue belts. Can that reach? Annoyingly not. Okay, and then just to prove it's here, I'm going to put a bit of a segment. Okay, and then we can put in a mat avoider. So this just consumes everything that's coming off the belt. Okay, and let's find out how we can power this up. So does this work? We should be producing 67 a minute. Okay. And the production I think that's pretty close. Let's let that run off to the end of its 1 minute burn-in. Absolutely rock steady though, so there's no issue here with the build buffering up and getting stuck. Okay, so we are producing 510 solid fuel and producing 67 rocket fuel. This says we should be doing 510 and 67. So something obviously is buffering up internally, but at some point that will balance out. But I am very pleased with that. So that build works. As I say, with this low volume of material, I would tend to do a bot solution, but each to their own. But I think this is the build for 0.17 for rocket fuel. You can imagine, so this is a block of 5. You can imagine, does this reach? There we go. So that is 6 rocket fuel makers. Is this working? Right, we have yeah. Takes a moment for everything to get balanced out. And we are producing some rocket fuel, because it just takes so long for this stuff to make. And let's see what the consumption is. Okay, so this would be consuming 15,000 light oil. We could obviously make this build vastly bigger. It looks like we could just make it as big as we want without any real problem. How many items are here? 12 assemblers. All right. So if you were doing a nice big rocket build for... So this is producing 268. So if you had 3 of these, let's just do it in a long line for the sake of today. Oops. Obviously you could put these side by side rather than end to end. It's dealer's choice. Okay, let's... Where's the line broken? There. So there we are. Let's look at the production stats. So this is climbing up. Quite there. We still get just a trickle coming out. Interesting. So this reckons it should be producing 800. Right, all the machines are running. Ah. Well, that's not going to help, is it? Right, let's check this all the way along. Is it all clearing out now? Looks like it. So in just a moment, this should turn back into a slightly broken... That's it, we're clear. Okay, so our production now Let's let it climb all the way up. Obviously, if you're doing this for real, you probably would not want to build a great big long line. You'd probably want to make it into a nice rectangle. And it will do that. Okay, so that's quite happily sat there. That's quite happily sat there. Let's turn off solid fuel. Go to 1 minute. Solid fuel. Sorry, rocket fuel. So that's sat just over 800. So we are easily able, with this build, to do a 1 RPM. Okay, so that's it really. That's what I wanted to do. The 2 builds. So the 3x2 rocket fuel build and the mining into trains early game, which seems ridiculous, but if you're fully beaconed, look, it's just doing the job, isn't it? I'm going to leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. I'll try not to bore you too many with live streams and me failing to do speedruns. Bye-bye.